Hello and welcome to Jurassic Reviews. On this episode, we'll be taking a look at a Godzilla figure by NECA. That figure is the Godzilla 1989. Before we begin, here's a look at the awesome box it comes in, featuring the Japanese poster for Godzilla vs. Biollante. NECA has released all of their figures, new and old, in these boxes with different poster artwork, and they all have looked fantastic. Unfortunately for me, I bought most of mine when they were still in the plastic boxes, with the Bandai Creation 54 Godzilla picture in the background. But I have been tempted to buy a few of them, like the GMK one, just for the artwork. The sides of the box feature the same poster shot, along with the 65th anniversary logo. The back has some nice shots of the figure and the breath effect piece, and a short description of what's going on in Godzilla vs. Biollante. Opening the front of the box, you'll get some more artwork and another shot of Godzilla. First, let's start with the sculpt. This figure stands just about 7 inches tall, and is about 14 inches long from head to tail. This is the third time NECA has done a Heisei-era Godzilla, after doing the 94 and 95, but those two were basically the same sculpt as each other. The 95 just had the added burning parts. I have to say I was never really a fan of those figures, and I feel like they are on the weaker end of NECA's Godzilla line. This 89, however, is much better than those two, and captures the look of the Heisei-era Godzilla much better. It's definitely not 100% there as far as accuracy, but it's a pretty solid effort for a figure in this price range. Details on the sculpt are pretty nice. All over the body you'll find its tree bark-like skin and various scales. The dorsal plates also look pretty good, and have some good texture work on the inner portions of each plate. My favorite part of this figure is the tail. I believe outside of NECA's Shin Godzilla, this is their largest tail for a Godzilla figure. I'm looking forward to see how this compares to the 2003 Godzilla's tail that NECA also just released. I'll talk more about this part of the figure when we get to the articulation. Moving to the head is where things are a little mixed for me. From certain angles it actually looks pretty good, and I really think it looks great looking at it head on or from slightly above. There's good detail here, like the small bumps on the top of its head that transition to the dorsal plates, and other things like its nose and ears. Still, there's just something off about it. Maybe it's the eyes or the jawline, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not saying it looks bad, it just doesn't look as close to the movie as I'd like. But it does look pretty cool in its own way though. Looking at the mouth, you'll see all of his tiny teeth and his tongue. You can also see a nice concealed opening where the breath effect piece is inserted. The breath effect piece for this figure looks great, and I think it's how I'll be displaying him. Now let's move to the paint. The majority of this figure is a mix of dark charcoal gray and green. I wasn't actually expecting the green paint on this guy, but it actually looks alright. It's not really accurate to the film, but it's dark enough to not really stand out all that much. The fingernails and toenails are painted a light brown, and the dorsal plates are painted a light gray on the outside and dark gray on the inside. Moving to the head, you'll find that it has brown eyes with black pupils. There's also a little bit of red around the edges of them as well. Inside the mouth, the teeth are painted white and the gums and tongue are painted a dark red. Moving to the articulation, there's a fair amount here, pretty much around the same as the last few NECA figures. The mouth can open, though I don't think it looks great when it's opened all the way. The lower jaw just looks a little awkward, especially when viewed from the side. Its head and neck are on ball joints, so they have a good range of motion. Its torso can be moved, and you can actually turn him all the way around. There's also a good amount of movement in the arms, with joints found even at the wrist and fingers. Moving to the legs, there's a joint at the thigh, knee, and on the foot. The tail, like all the more recent NECA Godzillas, has quite a few ball joints that allows for a good amount of different poses. I think this is actually NECA's best tail on a Godzilla figure, both because of the length and because of how well it can smoothly capture all the different positions you can put it in. Before I give my rating for this figure, here's a comparison with other figures. Here it is with the NECA Godzilla 1994. Here it is with the NECA Godzilla 2001. Here it is with the NECA Godzilla 1962 and 1964. Here it is with the NECA Godzilla 2019. And finally, here it is with the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1989. For a rating out of 10, I give this one an 8.5. The sculpt is pretty well done, despite the head just looking a little off. The paint is solid enough, even though the green was a little unexpected. It also has pretty solid articulation, especially the tail. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good Godzilla figure by NECA, and a much better Heisei Godzilla than their previous offerings. It'd be tough to find a better looking Godzilla 1989 in this price range, so I'd recommend this one. And that does it for the NECA Godzilla 1989. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.